it's a beautiful Friday morning, and I'm over here in one of my favorite sections of Guilford on Varney Point with Rich and Cathy Cram. And it's been years since I've been to this house. I met your dad here, and it was a pretty rustic cabin.
Yeah.
When did you guys move in?
10 years ago. 10 years ago, February 17th.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you moved from where?
Hampstead.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Cathy, where did you grow up?
We both grew up in Wilmington,
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Yeah. That's where we met in high school, fell in love. High school sweetheart since I was 14 and he was 16.
Wow. And so how old were you when you got married?
I was 19 and you were 20.
I think you were 20. I was 21.
I was 19, you were 20. It was
All right.
1977.
I'll go with it.
77. We got married in 80. I was 20 and Cindy turned 21 the day before we got married.
So we have a lot in common in that
Yes.
regard.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah.
So how long did your family have a place up here, Rich?
Since 1971, my uncle Richard used to live basically across the street, and we used to come up here on vacation for years and stay with them. They had a little outside bunkhouse, and we thought that was pretty cool. And back then, the point was a lot different. But yeah, we've been they were here since '71 when they bought this house off the Pratts, which were
Okay.
living here at the time.
And it was really a hunting cabin at that
Yeah.
time. Yeah, it wasn't even the full camp that you saw when you knew Rich's dad.
And at one point, I know you had some bad neighbors, the Flynns,
Oh yeah, they lived right across. The
right
street.
across Walton Mary,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, we had to kick them off the points. They weren't paying the rent. No, they were great neighbors across the street, and you know, on the point you have a tendency to know all your neighbors, both sides of the street, and even up on the hill, which is nice. And the Flynns were an intricate part of our neighborhood, and we really miss not having them on the point, to be honest.
Yeah, they're now at
Taylor.
the Taylor community doing
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, what a great couple. So, Rich, what kind of work did you do?
I was basically a social worker working in Merrimack County for kids around drugs, alcohol, anger, anything that just keep them out of the system, the judicial system, and trying to keep them alive and out of placement or jail. And so I've done that for, I worked up there for about 14 years, and then prior to that, about 14 years down in Atkinson, New Hampshire, doing the same thing as the director of a nonprofit down there.
And where did you go to school?
I went to Middlesex Community College for criminal justice and law enforcement, and then I went to Lesley University out of Cambridge,
Yeah.
and after that for psychology counseling.
Oh, wonderful. I think Leslie's now closed.
Is it?
I think so.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so. My friend was at a college right next to Leslie in Cambridge. But so, Cathy, what's your story?
That's my story.
Yeah.
Come on, we only have a little time, honey.
Well, for the last 35 years, I was in radio and TV advertising. So
Ah.
in New Hampshire and 9 years in Boston as a general sales manager down there for the country station. But worked at all different radio stations. And then when we moved up here, I had to get out of Boston. It was too much of a commute. So
Yeah.
that's when I got into television and worked for Comcast, selling TV advertising and online and things like that. And then was fortunate enough to retire a couple of years ago. And now I just do a lot with Make-A-Wish and an organization called The First Tee, working with kids. And
So what does that organization do?
The First Tee,
Yep.
they work with golf courses and
The First Tee, yes,
the
yes.
First Tee, yeah. And we teach kids kind of basic principles like perseverance and loyalty and respect and things like that, life skills through the game of golf, through teaching the game of golf.
Do you both play golf?
Yes.
You know, we go out, we hit the ball around, play golf. Yeah,
We do
sure.
play.
Where do you like to play?
Oh, everywhere. We play all over the place. Up here, probably Lockmere is our favorite, but we play at Loudon and Pheasant Ridge and Owl's Nest and
Typically
Play at Rochester.
play a league a year. I play with another guy. She used to play with a couple of her friends, and so we'll try to do a league each, and then kind of throughout the week play with friends. Try to play with somebody else one time. But it's tough to play a lot of golf when you live here in the summer because you want to be here in the summer and not on a golf course for 4 or 5 hours.
Yes. Yep. And what about kids?
We have 2 daughters.
And where do they live? What their names and where do they live?
Tammy and her family live in Goffstown, and they have one son, Braden. He's 10. And then our other daughter, Melanie, lives out in Western Massachusetts now, and she's a music director for a Waldorf school out there, Hartsbrook Waldorf School. And she has 2 kids, Oliver, who is 9, and Eliana, who's 7.
And how has the past year in the pandemic affected your ability to get together?
It's been harder to get together with them because they're in Massachusetts. We did see them in the summertime. They came up for a while, but then in July, but then we haven't really been able to see them. We did a birthday party for Eliana. We met in Keene at a park and brought a birthday party to the park, but really haven't seen them much since then.
And she's a teacher, so
Christmas, we
she's
saw
kind
them at
of
Christmas.
bound by different rules than even the state as far as meeting other people and leaving the state itself.
Sure.
Yeah. But we see Braden quite a bit.
How about the vaccine? Have you got anything?
I got the Moderna about almost a month ago. I get my second shot on the 23rd for the community college, and so knock on wood for that.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I got my first shot a couple weeks ago. I get my second one next week.
Oh, wow.
Good.
Yep.
I'm still waiting.
Well, you're too young.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I think I can sign up on the 17th for my first shot. So looking forward to that. It'll make us all feel better. But we get outside a lot. We've been doing a lot of snowshoeing and cross-country skiing and
Maybe get some more
walking.
skating in once the lake
Skating.
refreezes. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
being able to be outside has been very helpful.
And how did you get connected to the Guilford Community Church?
That goes so far back. I mean, my Uncle Rich, his dad, Uncle Carl, and used to be connected to the church. And when they moved to Florida, they still had a kinship to the church. And even after their passing, he donated, my father was the executive of the will, and donated a sum of money to the church for that elevator. And so we've been in, when we came up here, that's the church my parents were using, and so that's really the church we know. And we've really liked the family of the church and the unison that they have together. And the pastors are
Despite the pastor, huh?
working out okay, so that's been, we enjoy the humor that's brought to the church, and so that's it. It's just the family of the church, but we've been there ever since.
And I believe it was your niece who just adopted a little one?
Yes, they should be on a plane right now. They had a few hiccups, but they are on a plane right now from India back to Montana. Yep, with little Abraham. He's 5. They think he's 5. They're not 100% sure, but the doctors at the orphanage think that he was probably 5. He's got MS, so there's got some developmental issues with that, but he's doing great, and hopefully they'll arrive in Montana and everybody will adjust well, and yeah.
Yeah, what a great story.
Yeah.
And there's a unique story behind this eagle. And I know you have told me on Sunday mornings that you often see a bald eagle.
We see him every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, yesterday we were sitting out on the deck and we were looking out at those 2 big trees down by the water, and all of a sudden this massive thing drops from the top of the tree and just, starts to fall towards the water, catches a wind drift, and up it goes. It was
Big eagle.
it was a mature bald eagle, which just means its head and tail were white.
Wow.
And so they like to sit there because we have a water bubble, and they can fish where the rest of the lake a lot of the lake is frozen. So they have a tendency to go where the water bubblers are
Huh.
this time of the season.
Yep. And what's the story behind this eagle?
The quick story is, my wife and I, we bought a apricot tree from Florida up to my father, who was a sapling, who's always had a green thumb. He grew it until it produced apricots, and so, which you're not supposed to grow an apricot north of what they used to call the Mason-Dixon line, but basically somewhere around Virginia South is the only place you can grow apricot trees. He grew it. My mother used to can the apricots and jams, and so we had to take the tree down when we built the house, and we cut a chunk of the tree, the base, gave it to a gentleman over in Moultonborough area. He lives in the mountains. He's a professional carver, internationally known, and he carved that out of the base of the tree. So it's gorgeous wood, but he tells us, Brian Stockman tells us, it's the hardest wood he's ever carved, and other than carving ivory. So he says, no power tools, everything's hand tooled.
Wow. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Just a reminder of the kind of place we live in, with so many eagles out on the lake today. And
Yeah, that's neat. So how old was the tree? Little technical problem there.
I'd say probably 30 years.
huge. It was a
It's
really
big tree.
big tree.
It was right where the flagpole is right now.
Yeah.
And what's on your schedule for today?
Probably another hike. We're talking about maybe going up to Castle in the Clouds and doing some hiking up there, or there's some conservation trails in Meredith we're gonna try.
Ah,
Yeah.
Because this is Hobie, our dog who we basically got right around COVID started.
March.
So we've had him for about 12 months, a year, a little over. And if you don't get him out and exercise him, then he has a tendency to want to exercise in the house. So it's better that we take him out. Plus, it's allowed us to get up and move, where typically you might not always feel like going out. So,
oh, that's great.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful day.
Oh, it's a gorgeous day. Well, I appreciate you letting me come on over.
Yeah, it's been
And,
fun.
and I hope you have a wonderful hike. And we are reopening the church on
Saw that.
April 11th. And I'm looking forward to seeing some people back in their
that's
pews.
fantastic
great.
news.
Yeah.
And it's got to have been hard for the whole church community. I know as it is for you to doing what you have to do and try to get that message across. So we appreciate your efforts that you've put forth.
Thanks. And thanks. We appreciate all your support. Have a great day.
Thanks
You
much.
too. Thank you.